And we're back. It's been a while. It's always great to have Bryan Leib with us. He is on Newsmax. You can catch him in lots of different forums. He's also former executive director of Iranian Americans for Liberty and the CEO of Henry PR. And he has his finger on the pulse, especially what's happening in Iran. Welcome back.
Thank you so much, Zev. Good to be with you as always.
And thank you. So what concerns me, and listen, the Iranians are out there, and I saw reports that as many as 12,000 people might have been killed. We do hope the United States does something. The president has promised to do something. We have to wait and see. But Iranians in general are held hostage by the regime, and there are about 10,000 Jews in Iran too. They were hostage even before this outburst because the government can do anything they want to them because they're not anti-Israel alone, they're anti-Jew. And they have hung and arrested people prior years. Do we know, you have any contacts inside what's happening with them? I know they must be very apprehensive.
Yeah, listen, my understanding of the Jewish community inside of the Islamic Republic of Iran is that it's a very low-key community. They very much, fly under the radar and don't really get involved with too many things. But I mean, the situation as a whole right now, Zev, I mean, it's a dire situation. Anytime the regime will actually openly admit to killing their own people, which they did yesterday, they finally admitted to killing at least 2,000 of what they are calling terrorists, what we are calling Iranian citizens. If they're admitting to 2,000, the number's probably, double or triple that.
Well, the Jerusalem Post reported 12,000.
I heard 12,000. I heard Iran International reported 18,000. It's really tough to know because, as you and I'm sure a lot of people know, they've been without internet now for going on 6 or 7 days. So it's very tough to get accurate numbers. But I think the regime is definitely flexing, what's left of their muscles right now. They've never been so weak, so they're in desperation mode right now, and we'll see what happens in the next couple hours and days. But I think their time is pretty much over. The regime, that is.
We hope so, because if there is no intervention to stop them, this has happened before. Maybe not on this biggest scale as right now, but they've had people uprising in the past, and they crushed it viciously, which seems like they're doing again. They don't seem to be as afraid of President Trump as people thought they would be.
Well, I think there's a couple things happening right now. First of all, the Iranian economy is in shambles right now. Their currency is at the lowest level that it's been in over 25 years. So financially, the regime is once again on life support, which you might recall during President Trump's first administration. He was the one that brought the regime economically, financially to their knees. And then Biden came in, or I should say, Biden, Obama, whoever came in, with their, lifeline and kept the regime afloat. So it is a different situation right now because of a couple different factors. One, the regime doesn't have the money that they used to have to be able to spread it around and keep their people, their inner circle happy. Two, a lot of the IRGC operatives, generals, leaders, they've been killed. I mean, there's no other way to say it. They've been killed by the Israelis, by the Americans, last year during those strikes. So the regime doesn't have the infrastructure from a people perspective, from a money perspective. And also, they've never been going against a president that has spoken so openly against what's happening right now. The Iranian people are not just in small little towns that no one's ever heard of. There are millions of Iranians, as I talk to you right now, that are on the streets in Tehran that are burning IRGC buildings, burning Iranian government buildings. There's rumors that certain IRGC generals have been killed by protesters. They're trying to go into their houses and kill these IRGC generals. So it's a much different situation right now. And to make a bold prediction here, I don't even think President Trump's going to have to do anything from a military perspective. I think the fact that so many people or Iranians are organized, they want regime change, they know that they optics-wise have President Trump in their corner, coupled with the fact that the regime doesn't have any money, I think this regime might fall any day now.
But I think they're determined to hang on. Yes, there are reports that Khomeini can fly to Moscow with his top leadership and spend some quality time with Assad of Syria, so, which would be a great scenario if he stays alive. What happening? The question is, though, there is still a ruthless machine, and yes, Israel and America killed and decimated some of the top leadership. They've replenished instead. They've been actually helping In Judea and Samaria, they've been providing weapons. They're out producing missiles. So they were looking to be back in business. So as a bigger blow they had, they're back up until now, until the revolution that's taking place now.
I mean, they have resources, but again, they've never been financially so weak. And that is how the Khomeini regime has been able to hold on all these years, is because they've been flush with cash, sending it around to all their 1%, of the IRGC and all the families, and they don't have that money right now. So you have very influential Iranian families that are close to the regime, that are turning against the regime. I mean, you have the Iranian foreign minister that's put his family in hiding in Lebanon. There's been rumors about other families that have already been sent away. So, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I don't think that the regime has the capability, has the resources to put down these protests. And by the way, I'm not even calling it a protest anymore, Zev. This is a revolution at this point. I've never seen anything like it at this level. And I think the Iranian people are going to win here. I don't see any other end result at this point. Khomeini, whether the Iranian people are going to get to him, whether the Israelis are going to get to him, or he flies, like you said, they'd be in Moscow with Assad. It's over. Khomeini regime, it's over.
Well, this time does seem different because I think more people are out there. And unlike other times when Obama did not support them, so they felt they had no outside support, it fizzled after a number of times when the Iranian regime was brutalized. I think this time having President Trump having their back makes a big difference. The question, though, and you don't believe he's going to need to send in any troops, I think there has to be something done to send even a stronger message to Iran that they better cease and desist.
Well, listen, in a lot of ways, we already kind of sent that message. So not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before, the reports started coming in of, 30 or 40 U.S. cargo planes that have been landing in different European bases, U.S. Army Ranger Regiment, U.S. Airborne Regiment that were on the ground in Europe. My sources telling me they're already on the ground in Iraq. So I think that we already have quite a bit of a military buildup in the region right now, where if President Trump gave the go order, it would be over very quickly for the Khomeini regime. And I think they know that. I think they know the kind of buildup that we have. They know what Israel is capable of doing. And when you couple all these things together, Zev, with the fact that the bravery of the Iranian people right now, listen, they know better than we do, than you and I talking right now. They know that thousands of their compatriots have been murdered. They know it, and they're still every night taking to the streets, fighting back, calling for the death of this regime. That's courage. That is real courage. And I don't think that President Trump, if it comes to military action, I don't think he's going to stand on the sidelines and let the Iranian people continue to be murdered. I think he's going to step in.
The real question wasn't
see if he'll have to.
Well, hopefully he won't have to, but as long as the massacre is taking place, if it's 10,000, 12,000, 18,000, whatever the number is, I don't know where everybody's not protesting. People protesting against Israel all the time. Here you have a massacre taking place. I don't see the protests from these same agitators against Iran, but it's still a lot of people that are being killed. The question, though, is, in Venezuela, Cuba, Russia, China didn't come to their defense of Maduro. Question, though, in Iran, they have more at stake there. Do we know about any Chinese or Russian involvement to try to help the Iranian regime?
That's a great point you brought up, because that is another X factor. The fact that the Russians have their hands full with everything that they're working on. The Iranians can't tap their militias in Iraq. They can't tap the Assad regime for help. So that's another X factor. I can tell you, based on what I've seen, that's public information, the Russians have been sending in some kind of cargo planes a couple of weeks ago. And I also have it on pretty good authority that the Chinese government provided the technology needed that is keeping the internet closed right now for the 6th or 7th day. So I think China, Russia, they're playing in the Iranian sandbox a little bit right now, but they all know that they're up against President Trump at this point, and they're also up against Prime Minister Netanyahu. We all saw what the Israelis were capable of, owning the skies and really they were doing whatever they pleased inside the country, both on the ground and in the air. And the Iranians, the Iranian regimes, that they're one big paper tiger. You know, they're talking about all these things that they're going to do to Israel. They're going to hit American bases, and they're going to hit America. They're not capable of doing any of this stuff. They might have, you know, their ballistic missiles. At the end of the day, if we flex our muscles, 1% of our U.S. military muscles, the regime's done. We'll see what happens. We're going to keep following this situation, but as I said at the top of the program, I think we're, you know, hours, days away right now from this regime falling. Hopefully.
Our guest is Bryan Leib, former executive director of Iranian Americans for Liberty. You can watch him on Max. Also, you can see him in different media as well. He's PR. Henry PR is his company as well, involved in public relations, not just dealing with Iran. You know, you mentioned the internet being jammed. Newsmax was the name I was looking for before. Now, the internet is down in Iran. Now, in other cases, I think Elon Musk's Starlink has been helpful. But from what I read, and maybe you can clarify that, it seems that they were able to jam Elon Musk's Starlink from providing internet service.
No, I mean, maybe they've been able to confiscate some Starlink systems, you know, the regime has, but they're not jamming anything. I mean, if you go on X right now, I mean, there are just scores of videos and images that are coming out consistently.
Oh, from Iran, so it's operational in Iran.
Oh, it's 100% operational, and I think that there's probably even more that Elon can do, because you know, you have to have the actual. My understanding is you have to have the actual Starlink system, but I'm also hearing that there's probably some ways that Elon can do some creative things where he can kind of snap his fingers, and by the snap of his fingers and people just using their phones, that they're going to be able to get internet. So you know, we'll see. But you know, Elon's another X factor. There's so many X factors in play right now, but it all comes back to, anytime we're talking about really kind of anything, you know, politics, we always say the words follow the money, follow the money. When the regime doesn't have money, that's how they hold on. That's how they live another day, another week, another month, whatever it is. They don't have any money right now. They don't have any money. Their friends, Russia, doesn't have any money. No one's coming to their defense in that regard. So, that's where we're at.
Looking online, I thought I saw somewhere that it was blocked, but I was seeing online that SpaceX provides free Starlink access in Iran amid the internet blackout, which is helpful to get some of the images out there, because 99% of the internet is down. At least Starlink is helpful in getting those images out to the West.
Zev, don't forget, Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel has a very close relationship with Elon Musk. I'm sure the Israelis during last year's 12-day war put an enormous amount of Starlink systems into Iran. And I wouldn't be shocked if the Mossad is still finding a way to get these systems in there. So, yeah. The systems are active.
So, by the way, the Washington Post and Forbes has reported that Iran did jam Starlink, protesters' lifeline, but for some reason, I think they're maybe putting more resources. But there is an attempt by the Iranians to jam Starlink, because they do not want the internet, because they're afraid of the internet in this situation.
I mean, of course, I said on an interview the other day, you know, Khomeini, what do you have to hide? Turn the internet back on. I think once they turn the internet back on, we're going to see some really horrible stuff. I mean, I've already started to see, you know, some of the images of the body bags and videos of just scores of body bags. So this is, by the way, this is like what this regime does. This is what they've always done. You know, they turn the internet off. They don't want the world to see what they're actually doing. By the way, there's also some rumors that they're going to be hanging people publicly. I guess our evening, their morning tomorrow. If images get out of them hanging people, that could really be a catalyst for potentially military action. I don't know. We'll see.
And because after the American attack on Iran, after the Israeli attack, that 12-day war, they've executed more people in this past year than ever in the Islamic Republic of Iran. They're not afraid to execute people because they're desperate. Anybody they suspect of being a spy, no questions asked, hang them.
Well, they also use that. They use that as an excuse too. You know, even if someone has no connections at all about being a spy, if they're anti-regime, then they just use that as an excuse. But listen, I stand by what I've said a couple times now. I really think this regime is on life support. I don't think that they're going to be breathing oxygen for too much longer here. And come back really quickly before I have to jump off here. Come back really quickly to a comment you made about how there's not a lot of leftists and progressives in this country right now that are saying anything about standing with the Iranian people. You don't hear words like free Iran, like you heard the word free Palestine coming out of their mouth nonstop. A lot of them are silent. A lot of them are quiet. And if you go on X and you see the members of Congress, of the House and of the Senate that are posting free Iran, stand with the Iranian people, 9 times out of 10, it's Republicans that are doing that. So yeah, it's crazy what's happening in terms of the leftists in this country that can't find the moral courage to stand with the brave Iranian people. But I think enough people are standing with them, and President Trump is standing with them. So I think we're very close to potentially just seeing this regime fall, and what happens after that, I think could just, as you probably know, Zev, could just be such a catalyst for change in the Middle East. And once you get rid of the boogeyman, I mean, so many things could happen. So
I hope so. Before I let you go, though, if the regime falls and the Ayatollahs are either dead or flee the country, question of who's going to take over, because you can have chaos. The Shah's son, I know, would like to be the leader, but I don't believe he would be acceptable if it would go back to the country. So the question would be, who would run and rule the country?
I think it's gonna be a lot of growing pains. I think the Shah's son, Reza Pahlavi, great guy, has his heart in the right place, loves his country, wants to do what he can to help the Iranian people. Ultimately, I don't know if he wants to be the guy running the country. And by the way, I don't think the Iranian people, as much as they like him, respect him, and love him, I don't think that they would vote for him. I think at the end of the day, Reza Pahlavi, his role is going to be to bring this regime, to their knees, affect regime change, and be a guy to help, pull all the parties together. Because, by the way, the Iranian political, society is not much different than ours. It's very fractured. There's a lot of people in play there, a lot of different parties. So we'll see what happens.
And the amazing thing is, when Khomeini first came in 1979, is that Iran was not really that much in the Shiite religion. They changed the face of Iran during the course of time that they were there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, it's been a brutal run that they've had, but it's coming to an end.
Thank God for that. So you're optimistic.
I honestly, I keep going back to follow the money. When the regime doesn't have money, that's it. They're over. When they don't have the military capabilities that they used to have, and when they don't have the money to be able to keep all their inner circle people happy, you're going to start seeing a lot of defections, a lot of people fleeing. I wouldn't be surprised if Khomeini flees.
By the way, they offered $7 every Iranian, which is a joke.
So kind of them.
Very kind of them. That'll really get them very far, because the rand is so devaluated and Iran is worth nothing. Anyway, so it's good to have you back on. So Bryan Leib, thank you for joining us, the former executive director of Iranian Americans for Liberty. Yes. And hopefully that this will get resolved soon, because each hour, each day that goes by, there's bigger slaughter taking place. I think if they see they get away with killing 12 or 18,000, they're emboldened to be even stronger and kill more people. So the sooner this gets taken care of, the better.
Well, we all have to keep raising our voices and speak out, for the freedom and liberty-seeking Iranian people. And thank you, Zev, for what you're doing, and everyone in your audience. And I think we're going to see a free Iran sooner than later.
Thank you for watching. If you like this content, you like our programs, please like and subscribe, as it helps the channel get these important conversations out there to a larger audience. So please become a supporter of TalkLine with Zev Brenner by liking us, by supporting us, and telling all your friends to watch. Thank you.